Mortal Kombat, my favorite fighting game franchise of all time. One of the most classic, most recognizable and infamous series in video game history, almost solely responsible for the entire rating system and outraged politicians of the early 1990s.
First we have Mortal Kombat. Blood splatters from the contestants' heads. When a player wins, the so-called death sequence begins. The game narrator instructs the player to finish, and I quote, finish his opponent. The player may then choose a method of murder.
You nailed it. One of the most entertaining aspects of Mortal Kombat was beating down your friends mercilessly and then choosing the most brutal, vile ways to end their lives in shocking displays of violence called Fatalities.
Wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
In this countdown, we're going to slaughter our way through the top 10. No, the top 15 Mortal Kombat Fatalities. The most gruesome, the most epic, the most ridiculous and iconic finishing moves. All the way from its beginnings to Mortal Kombat X. But let's establish some quick ground rules. No fatalities from spin-off games such as Shaolin Monks and Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. Not that those would have made the list anyways. This list will only incorporate the main fighting games in the series. Also, no repeated characters. Only one fatality will be chosen per fighter. And some fatalities have also been repeated throughout Mortal Kombat's history in various ways, so I'll pick specific versions of said fatality. Let's get this started.
Finish him!
Number 15. Jade's Turbo Staff from Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Kitana's childhood friend and loyal companion, Jade started the series as a mystery secret character, a simple palette swap of Kitana and Mileena that would whoop your ass in a heartbeat. Eventually, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 filled in her backstory and gave her a staff that she's so skilled with that she can whip it around at hyper speeds.
Jade wins. Fatality.
Imagine being impaled by a staff, and then being swung up and down so rapidly that your skin literally evaporates off your body until you explode. Horrifying. Number 14. The T-Rex, performed by Major Jackson Briggs, or Jax, in Mortal Kombat X, the dedicated and protective partner of fellow Special Forces member Lieutenant Sonya Blade. Since Mortal Kombat 2, Jax has become infamous for two things: ripping the arms off his enemies like an angry Wookiee, and being the star of one of the worst video games I have ever had the dishonor of playing. Undoubtedly, his arm-ripping fatality would have made this list, but I faced one difficult question. Which version? The T-Rex.
Jax wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Instead of separating the arms from the body of his opponent, Jax has decided to use his incredible force to push in the arms, creating a Tyrannosaurus arm effect, but then takes it a step further, needlessly ripping the head open and putting his cigar out on the tongue. Damn. Number 13. Quan Chi's Beatdown from Mortal Kombat 4. Quan Chi is one of the most uninteresting characters in Mortal Kombat, but one of the most important, eventually revealed to be the true force behind the death of Scorpion's family. And he's also had some of the most interesting fatalities in the series, including stretching someone's neck to amazing heights, and forcing his victims to walk right into the sharp end of a blade, but nothing is more despicable than the beatdown. And yes, he did have a more gruesome version of this same fatality in Mortal Kombat 9, but the unrelenting speed and ferocity of Mortal Kombat 4's beatdown puts it in the number 13 spot. Number 12. Cyber Sub-Zero's Brain Freeze from Mortal Kombat 9. I thought Cyber Sub-Zero was one of the coolest additions to the Mortal Kombat series. After the history of Mortal Kombat is changed, of course due to time travel, Sub-Zero gets captured and turned into a cyborg instead of Smoke, and we end up with the awesome Cyber Sub-Zero and his Brain Freeze fatality.
Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality!
This fatality may not be very gruesome compared to others in the list, but getting a sharp object thrust into your head as it spins around at high speeds, turning your brain into slush? Ooh. Number 11, Sector, performing the Scarecrow. Again, from Mortal Kombat 9, a game that has no shortage of awesome finishing moves. The red cyborg of the Lin Kuei assassins was known in the development stages as Ketchup, and over the years has been given an armory of weapons, from flamethrowers used to turn his enemies into a crisp, to missiles that explode them into tiny chunks of meat. But the Scarecrow is a deadly weapon that once attached offers no escape.
Sector wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
What else is there really to say about this one? A ticking timer of death attaches to your chest, only to expand, forcing your body to quite literally split apart. Number 10, Kenshi's TELE-COPTER from Mortal Kombat X. As Mortal Kombat made the jump to 3D, they kept making new characters as sequels continued. The only problem is that most of these new characters were among the worst of the entire series. But they struck gold with one new character, Kenshi, a blind telekinetic warrior armed with a sword and badass moves, involving one that turns enemies into baloney.
Kenshi wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
As the sword spins wildly into a deadly meat slicer of destruction, Kenshi's victims can do nothing but see their own end getting closer and closer, and then slice, slice, slice. Number 9, Kung Lao's Razor's Edge from Mortal Kombat 9. Liu Kang's buddy and fellow Shaolin monk, Kung Lao carries a deadly hat with a sharp edge that he uses to slice his enemies right through the middle in extremely gory fashion. But one fatality in particular hurts just to look at, especially if you have balls.
Kung Lao wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Kung Lao could have easily sliced his enemies in any simple fashion, like cutting off a limb or two, but instead he chooses to drag them balls or vagina first through a sharp spinning object. Number 8, Boraicho's Fire Fart. There was no way that this one wasn't going to make this list. Boraicho is one of the newer entries in the Mortal Kombat series, his name being a play on words on the Spanish word for a drunk. He's your basic, everyday, overweight martial artist, trained in the art of drunken master, always walking around with alcohol in his hand, and his moves consist of burping and releasing gas in other imaginative ways.
Oh, that was a wet one.
Boraicho wins. Fatality.
Not only does he cover his enemies in a strong blast of fart wind, so putrid that it's glowing a bright neon green, it's also combined with a stream of fire, ensuring it's as flammable as possible. One of the worst deaths imaginable, not only suffering from burned flesh, but the terror of a wet, powerful ass blast. Number 7, Tremor's Stone Tomb from Mortal Kombat X. One of the most interesting additions to the Mortal Kombat series, especially for longtime fans. Tremor might have been a DLC character, but his origins were part of Mortal Kombat history long before, making his first appearance as a member of the criminal Black Dragon crime organization, alongside Kano in the atrocious Mortal Kombat Special Forces. But he debuted in the fighting series with one of the most terrifying fatalities of them all.
Finish him. Tremor wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
This fatality might be quick and painless, but annihilating his enemies by crushing them in between two slabs of impenetrable rock as they reach out desperately for help establishes Tremor as a ruthless character that does not mess around. Number 6. Noob Saibot's Make-A-Wish from Mortal Kombat 9. One of my favorite Mortal Kombat ninjas, usually represented as mysterious Black Shadow. Noob Saibot's story was fleshed out over time, establishing that the original Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat 1 and Noob were one and the same, returning from the dead as an evil shadow doppelganger.
You are not worthy of the name Sub-Zero.
Who are you to judge?
I wore those colors before you.
Bi-Han?
Yes, Kuai Liang. It is I. Quan Chi restored me.
For what end? To serve the Netherrealm and Outworld?
It suits my purpose.
But brother,
We share blood. We are not brothers.
Then I will not regret your defeat.
Noob's ability to use his own shadow as a literal weapon also allows him to have one of the most brutal fatalities.
Noob Saibot wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Slowly grabbing one leg on each side, Noob pulls with superhuman strength, pulling hard enough to split the body into two pieces slowly, as his enemies feel every single bit all the way up. Number 5. From Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, the now cybernetic ninja Smoke. Once a secret deadly character is armed with the power to destroy everything, and I mean everything.
Fatality.
I argue that it's the best fatality in that entire game. Can you really pick a deadlier fatality? Not only does Smoke obliterate his victim, he obliterates everybody everywhere. Number 4. Liu Kang's Dragon Bite. The main hero and champion of Mortal Kombat started the series with one of the weakest fatalities in its history, doing a cartwheel and sending his enemies flying into the air. Come on, you could have done better than that. And he did, returning to the sequel armed with the ability to turn into the freaking logo.
Fatality.
While this fatality has been repeated time and time again in various versions, the crown goes to the version in Mortal Kombat 2. I remember vividly seeing this at the arcade for the first time and thinking, whoa! Never have I seen anything like that in a video game at the time, and it blew away his original fatality in every way. Number 3. Triborg's Death Machine from Mortal Kombat X. Triborg is a character I honestly couldn't care less about. He was really just a DLC character thrown into the game later, combining the cyborgs of the series into one fighter. Nothing too original, nothing special. But at the same time, he happened to have one of the most genuinely hilarious and imaginative fatalities in the entire series.
Triborg wins. Fatality.
Like an extremely violent version of Transformers, Triborg combines into a playset of death, first impaling the body through the stomach, then forcing it into a buzzsaw while being crushed, then processed into a small cube of meat. Number 2. Sub-Zero's Spinal Smash from Mortal Kombat 9. The icy Lin Kuei assassin of the Mortal Kombat universe has what was quite possibly the most shocking fatality of all time, ripping the heads off his enemies with spinal cord still attached with his bare hand. In the early days of gaming, sending adults on a frenzy to protect the children.
The player may then choose a method of murder ranging from ripping a heart out to pulling off the head of the opponent with spinal cord attached.
A fatality repeated time and time again, but the best version
Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Not only does he violently rip the head off, he takes it a step further and smashes the frozen body with that same head. And number 1, Scorpion's Toasty, the most iconic fatality in all of Mortal Kombat. Having the title as the most popular character in the entire series, right alongside his nemesis, Sub-Zero, Scorpion is a deadly supernatural force, armed with the ability to burn his victims alive, ripping his mask off and revealing a skull, unleashing a painful, fiery blast. Picking this fatality as number 1 was extremely easy. Even though it's not very gory, it's a classic, and the second Scorpion removes his mask, you know exactly what's happening next. But the best version of this one is from Mortal Kombat 2.
Scorpion wins. Fatality.
Not only does the victim burn alive, the blast is so powerful that they explode. And that completes my top 10 Mortal Kombat fatalities. I'd love to hear some of your favorites that weren't on my list, so leave those down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like and a comment down below letting me know. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on social media. You can also check out some of my other videos or click my Patreon link if you'd like to support GamerThumbTV. This is Fabian. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.